So, how are you?
I'm good. This is been touring for a week soon, and it's been a good tour so far. Did Rome for the first time ever yesterday, and it was a great show. Way too hot, but you know, we managed. So having a good time on tour.
Did you like Rome from historical points of view, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I think it's one of the most amazing cities in the world, and I've been there before as a tourist on vacation, and visited all the tourist places and historical places. And yesterday we had a couple of hours off, so we brought some of the guys to the Colosseum that hadn't seen that before and stuff like that. So it was a good time. I'd like to spend more time there.
What is the next step of Bride? I mean, the collaboration with the Valfar's brother could carry on maybe on an album or with some side projects, you know?
Well, maybe, but as for Vegard, he's not really a musician, so to speak,
yeah,
you know, so of course that would be great, but I don't see him really going into albums or something like that. But if he would want to do that sometime, that would be amazing. He especially does these shows in the honor of Vindir, and later on, our next move is now we started working on a new album, and we're gonna record it sometimes early next year and release it next autumn, I think. So we will continue what we've done with Ride. I think it also might be the most extreme album we have done. It's the most black metal album we've ever done, so to speak.
That's great.
That's kind of, I think it also the year we have had now, not doing any regular shows, just focusing on this and taking some time off, has kind of made us rediscover a lot of our own history. So who knows how the next album turns out, but so far it sounds quite extreme.
That's great. We like extreme music, so so this is a great news. Why did you choose not to write some stuff in Norwegian lyrics on the past album, on the last album, you know? Will you ever use Norwegian language in your next works again, maybe?
Never. Oh yes, we will. Actually, on the whole next album will be completely Norwegian again. So it's one of those things that sometimes we have mixed it on albums, sometimes we do things only Norwegian. For the last album, it's felt natural to do it in English with the topics we touched and stuff. This time I just started to look into some of the lyrics, and I just found a couple of lines in Norwegian, and then I decided I want to make a whole Norwegian album again. So we don't put any limits and decide that we must do this and that. We just go with our feelings when we start the album, and the next album will be in Norwegian, Sognamo.
What we can expect, so in the next album you told us that it will be maybe the most extreme in Bride's history. So you have in a certain sense asked our question, but can you tell us some more, maybe?
Yes, for the first one, I have a lot of ideas for the next album, and I have like 4 or 5 songs more or less finished for the album, how they are going to end out. And it's it sounds a lot more like the early 90s stuff, and it's a bit faster, and it's a lot more darker, and we use some actually more keyboards than ever, and it's like with the layers, and so it will be very atmospheric in a dark way. So whereas with the last albums with Bride, we've had absolute elements of those, but we've done also songs that are more kind of 70s rock and progressive kind of style. With the new album up here, it's a lot more, so far at least, my impression is they are a lot more linked with the black metal from the 90s.
Yeah, maybe some Burzum stuff, and you know.
Burzum is definitely also always an inspiration, like with Burzum and Emperor and Dagsthrone, and it's just turned out now that with just finding some easy chords, you know that, and then building a whole song around that and stuff like that, something we haven't tried for quite a while. And we always like to change with each album, and I don't think you necessarily have to step ahead and try something new. Sometimes you do that. Other times you just kind of go back to your past and find influences that way. So yeah, but still, it's early in the process, so we never how it ends up, you know.
So you have asked another question, so we can go. This is a personal question because I've noticed some little changes in the vocal style of Sture in the last album. Do you agree? And what we can expect in the future under this vocal point of view, maybe if you can.
Yeah, I still think it's early to say how the vocals are going to be on the next album. I agree, we tried a lot of different techniques and changing. With the last album, we actually only recorded everything once. It was more like a live recording and a direct session, yeah, and didn't use any effects at all or something like that. Whereas on the previous album, it's been more like studio recorded and building with layers. So we wanted to kind of have that raw thing that happens directly from the live scene when we recorded this time, to try something different. And I really was happy with that way, but who knows? I don't know what we'll do in the next album. That's one of the things that's interesting in studio, to see where you end.
Okay. And then which are the bands that have you influenced you and the others in your music and in your career so far? And if there are any bands, young bands nowadays that you personally appreciate and maybe born after year 2000, or if you can.
Well, we have a lot of different tastes within the band, but it's typical of this band that we listen to all kind of music, you know, especially when we sit on the tour bus after the show and have some drinks. Then we do not listen to that much metal stuff, actually, you know. Then it's more different kinds of music, pop music and whatever, you know. We like a lot of the old hit songs. Like one song that everyone loves on this tour bus is Moonlight Shadow by Mike Oldfield. Real pop song, you know. That was actually, I think, one of Valfar's ultimate favorite songs as well, you know. Inspired him a lot. More in the aspect we're doing, of course, it all started with us with the thrash area, you know, what from Creator, Metallica, Slayer and all those bands. And then came the black metal wave, inspired us a lot, and the band Death has been extremely important for this band, and also a lot of 70s stuff, as I mentioned, like Alice Cooper, Bowie, the Stooges and stuff like that. That's kind of, these are the albums I never grow tired of, listen to them over and over and over again, you know. With newer bands, I think there are many great bands out there, especially from bands that I know from Norway these days. I think like a band, one of my favorites is called Necromantion. It's like a kind of 80s black trash kind of style. Love that band. And also like great new black metal bands like Vemod is one of the bands that I really follow these days.
A final question, but maybe we have to ask Sture about this, because in the last US tour, maybe in 2007.
Yes, in one of your
tour
in the United States.
But in a video, Sture was wearing a fantastic, amazing pajama with monkeys. So we wanted to ask you if he brought this pajama with him on this tour.
Yeah. Of course, he always sleeps in that suit every night, you know. It's like, no, we were out, yeah, it was in 2009, our first US tour, and me and Esa, our former guitarist, were out buying some present for our kids back home. And then we found this huge kids' pajamas. So, you know, like, we need to get this for Sture, and it was too small, but then we put him in his bunk, and all of a sudden he just squeezed into it and came on, and we put on some dancing music, and yeah, I think he did a great performance. He should, yeah, should wear that live sometime.
Great. So, want you to tell something to our listeners and to the Italian audience as well, if you want. You have the possibility.
Well, we appreciate all your great support. Like, Italy is, I think, one of the most loyal fan base, and we noticed that with Vride it's been building over the years, and with Vinde they have a special relationship. When we played yesterday, when people were singing along to the tunes, singing the melody, and that together, it was a fantastic experience, you know. We played in Italy with Vride before, but I think for especially the other guys like Rig on keyboards and Espen who from Mr. who's doing guitar with us as well, and especially Vegard. For him it's quite emotional to see how dedicated and loyal the fans in Italy are. So Italy, we always appreciate it. Even our guitarist Strum, he got married last year and he had a wedding in Italy, so we like this country.
Yeah, this is typical.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and we felt honored to can speak with you, and thank you very much.